Hello mech warriors, and welcome back to Goofy Mechs, the series where we take a look at some of the silliest art in Battletech, and then have a look at some stats to see if the mech is worth running on the tabletop. Today we're talking about the Blitzkrieg, which is easily one of the dumbest looking mech designs that I have ever seen. It's essentially a walking tank, and I know that that term is used a lot in Battletech, but this really is a walking tank. It is the chassis with no arms, a turret on the top, and legs instead of tracks or wheels. Now this silly little bird-like mech with its crazy digitigrade legs is the very definition of a unit with the no/minimal arms quirk. It actually has no arms, which is hilarious because it is statted with arms in the game. It uses ferrofibrous armor and endosteel, and actually would not be able to carry those things unless it was using the arm critical slots that it gets to fill up with that extra bulk. This is just a crazy design. Look at this thing's face. It's got this little mean toothy grin going on with the face grill and these big angry eyes coming out the sides of the cockpit. The top of the head is very flat and looks like you could land a flying saucer on top of it. And I feel like it's a really weird idea to have a rotating tank turret on top of a body that could technically just rotate in any direction that you need it to. Wouldn't it make more sense to make it so that the whole body can rotate instead of installing a directional torso mount quirk? Now, Franz Vohwinkel has unfortunately adorned this thing with some of the worst lamellar syndrome I have ever seen. The body is just covered in random paneling, so is the gun turret. And look at these weird diamond armor plates on the bottom of the body. I don't really know what function those serve, and I have no idea why there's so many lines across the body here. I guess it's to rotate this piece, but this wouldn't ever need to rotate, right? So why are all of these here? This could just be one big solid lump of metal. And why did they decide to make the body a xenomorph head? It goes all the way back up to the turret that's on top of it. Is this just so that the turret is in an elevated position? It doesn't appear to have any kind of gun depression, so it's not going to be able to fire at things below it or above it as far as I can tell. And with these little lamellar armor pieces down here, the body certainly isn't going to be able to move up or down so that this thing can aim into the sky or at the ground. Right in the center mass of the body, we have two bullet traps, the turret ring itself, and then this big flat part behind the cockpit head. Now, this being nice and curvy is great. That'll deflect shots pretty well, but it's going to deflect them directly into the main part of the body here, which doesn't seem like a great decision to me. This should have all just been one piece flowing downwards, and that would have been a much better design. It almost seems like the head is bolted on here or something. That's a very strange design decision. As is the massive amount of air vents. We have presumably one on the other side mirroring this, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 air vents all in the front of the mech. All big liabilities where bullets can get trapped inside of and bounce around inside the mech, causing all kinds of havoc. Now, below its little butt antenna, we have some very interestingly designed legs. It's just 4 balls apiece, 8 balls all together for the ball joints of these legs. Now, I'm not entirely opposed to ball joints because they do deflect shots off of them, which is nice, but did they need to have so many lines all over them? I don't really get why there's so many individual armor plates on these. That seems like it'll be a real pain to fix. And why is this piece split into 5 different armor plates? There's no reason to have 5 different armor plates on this little section that's defending the front of the leg. I do kind of like that these bird feet are very pointy. It makes them look more talon-like and also might actually be good for kicking, you know? You can get the feet digging right in with that nice sharp point, breaking through enemy armor plates. Although it looks like it might be a little bit fragile and the end might snap off if you try and kick anyone, which this mech is almost certainly designed to do. The original Blitzkrieg 3F, designed in 3061 by Coventry Metalworks, is a walking AC-20. This is the biggest, baddest weapon that you can possibly put on a unit, capable of dishing out 40 damage per round and ripping pretty much any mech that it hits with full force in half. if it is under assault weight class. And despite looking extremely goofy, the Blitzkrieg is actually the most optimized mech to deliver just an AC-20 to your face at fast speed that is possible. Even tanks can't do this job as well as the Blitzkrieg 3F. I made a hover tank that had a little bit of extra armor compared to the Blitzkrieg, but didn't have the capability of kicking, which made it worse at the job of getting in close and blasting somebody with an AC-20 because you can't follow it up with a 10 damage kick. 50 tons is the ideal mech weight for 711 move speed with an XL engine, and because it has that XL engine and only one big short-range weapon, this thing's battle value is actually very reasonable. Under 1300 battle value for a fast-moving cavalry mech with a really deadly gun is very reasonable. Now, the armor is a little bit lacking. I would like to see 15 on the left and right torsos, so maybe we should just take a little bit of armor off of those arms because they really aren't serving much of a purpose other than absorbing damage, which you could do just by putting more onto the torsos. But the legs have 16, the center torso has 17, the head a little bit suspect at only 8 armor, but this thing is fragile enough that a headshot is really just going to be a very unlucky thing that could happen, and it can still take one clan large pulse laser to the head without being destroyed, unless the cockpit gets crit out, obviously. But with an XL fusion engine, either of the side torsos go up, this thing is gone, and you'd lose your only weapon if the side torso went anyways, regardless of which one it is, because the ammo's in the right torso pretty much uncrit padded other than the engine, which is pretty bad, honestly. I would like to see case here, just to make it so that the mech is actually salvageable if the ammo goes up, but that's not really what this mech is about. If you take a ride in this thing, you're pretty much following like hunchback orthodoxy. We are delivering the AC-20 to kill something. We don't care about being safe. And in fact, this basically is the final evolution of a hunchback, if you want to look at it that way. Very fast, big gun, minimal armor, just enough to basically keep the mech alive against some clan large pulse laser hits on the way in, so that it can deliver that gun a couple of times. But with the 4 TMM, the lack of armor is less of a problem, and with a directional torso mount, you can't actually get behind this thing safely. It'll just blast you in the face with an AC-20. And because the mech has double heat sinks, you can fire the UAC every single turn and pick up 0 heat, even when running. And with 20 rounds of ammunition, you've got 10 rounds of ultra firing, so you're pretty much just gonna hold down that trigger until this thing runs out of ammo, you get blown up, or the gun jams. Now, the Blitzkrieg 4F is a little bit harder to justify. At nearly 1800 battle value, it is very expensive, but you do get a heavy PPC with a targeting computer on a very fast and very tanky mech. We have 169 armor points, maxed armor for a 50-tonner. Those non-existent arms are gigantic shields that you can use to protect yourself, and the C3 unit allows you to get in close, skirmish at range 6, and give your lance mates a big boost to their to-hit numbers, or use another cheap C3 spotter to get even better to-hit numbers with your dangerous heavy PPC. Now, the damage here compared to an Ultra AC-20 is not even close. We've got 15 versus 20 for a single shot, and obviously this isn't dealing anywhere near 40, but it is more accurate, it does have much better range, nearly double the medium range of the Ultra AC-20, and we have jump jets. So with 7 jump, only producing 2 heat when firing the heavy PPC, this unit can jump around all over the place and have absolutely no problems with heat for 3 turns, and then you can either walk or stand still and fire the heavy PPC and pretty much completely cool down. With no ammo to explode and much better armor, the 4F variant is really durable, very hard to take down. If you've ever faced a Wraith, imagine trying to take down a Wraith, but instead of it trying to knife fight with you at point blank range, it prefers to fight you at range 12 and maintain 4 TMM while jumping into woods. Yeah, that's gonna be a real pain in the ass to get rid of. Unfortunately, tanky skirmishers are not particularly great in objective play, and because of the minimum range of 3, this unit's less good at running behind you, kicking you, and blowing open your back armor, but it is pretty good at running up close to a group of enemies, firing firing at something that's, say, 4 hexes away and kicking something else in the back. Funnily enough, you can actually punch with this unit if you want to, although it won't be very effective if you are using quirks, obviously. But overall, if you're looking for a hard-hitting, medium-range skirmisher with good speed, the Blitzkrieg 4F is not too bad. Mainly, it's not very good because of the high battle value cost, I would say. 1740 is pretty expensive. You can get a really good heavy mech for that, but this does make a pretty darn good objective runner, able to fire behind itself while it runs away, delivering data to your deployment zone or whatever, due to that directional torso mount. And it can absolutely take a beating with its excellent armor and high TMM. So yeah, I think I would actually recommend the Blitzkrieg 4F if you're looking for a unit like that. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments, and let me know what mech I should review next. The Blitzkrieg was a suggestion from one of my subscribers, so your suggestion could be up next on the chopping block. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you feel like supporting me directly, there's a link to the Ko-fi in the description. Thank you so much for watching, Mech Warriors, and have a great day.